Recording in progress.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, and Maestro styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called the Barbershop.
Yo, what's good? What's good? Welcome, folks. It's another edition of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. You can check us out live right now on our YouTube channel, also on our Twitter handle at Barbershop SPOR2, and also on our Facebook page via Facebook Live. I'm Trey Frazier, and I got my brother Maestro Styles here with me today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's good, man? How we feeling today?
I am under the weather, man, but I'm going to try to get through this the best way I know how.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you, bro. Hey, bro, this was, I ain't gonna front, man. This was a weekend of winners, man. Shout out to my son's U10 soccer team over the weekend. He had a couple games, Saturday, Sunday. Won both of the games, averaging 7 goals a game for the team. My son scored a goal in each of the games over the weekend.
Okay.
So shout out to his team. My daughter's team played on Saturday. Her team won 6-0. So, we had some winners in the house, man, over the weekend, man. So, it's all good there. Obviously, the whole AFC North, I guess you could say, except for Cincinnati, because they was on a bye this week. The whole division got a win.
Well, I'm not celebrating the Browns or the Ravens winning, but, I guess so. In your soliloquy, I guess everybody wins.
Everybody wins. And to echo you, I'm not necessarily celebrating the other two teams' wins, especially looking like the refs got involved, especially with that Browns game on Sunday. Refs look like they got themselves involved in there a little bit, but we could talk about that in a little bit. We got a dope show coming for y'all. Tonight is the premiere of the new NBA season coming up. Look like the Nuggets got their rings already and all that. I just flipping through channels and stuff. Look like they already passed the first quarter right now.
They're playing.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. You know what? I thought the game started at 8. I think that's why I'm kind of like, and I'm a little out of whack here a little bit because we normally start this about an hour earlier, but I had some things on my plate to attend to. So. But we got a dope show, man. It's the start of the NBA season. We got a dope guest coming on. I actually met her at Knicks Cavs Game 4 in the playoffs earlier this year. Does some dope Knicks content. Actually works alongside with Sim. Shout out to Sim Russell. Does a little bit of, post-game contributions every now and then. But she's got her own show. It's called Dope Soul Sports Talk. Also, she's got another platform called Queen's Court. She goes by the name of BK Steph. Longtime Knicks fan, NBA fan as well. So we're going to talk with her in a few minutes, kind of previewing the NBA season, predictions, things like that. And obviously, with her being a Knicks fan, we'll talk a little bit about the Knicks. We'll try not to oversaturate the show with Knicks talk. And I see you got your Wizards joint on, so I know you're ready as well to get it popping.
Just in formality, you know what I'm saying? I got some negativity based on the preseason game I watched. But I'm not here on negativity, but I'm repping the Wizards. Can't wait to watch them play tomorrow. They play Indiana tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. So gotta ride with them. Yep.
I'm locked in tomorrow. Yeah, man. But immediately, we need to get into some pretender talk, man.
Some pretender talk. Okay.
Some pretender talk, man.
Okay.
My man, C Hen, you my mans.
Woo.
You my mans, bro.
Woo.
You my mans, bro. I don't want you to never think nothing different.
Hey, you family on this show, bro. You family on this show.
But your team let you down. And y'all are not I know a lot of early in the season based on record.
Yep.
We wanted to put them with San Fran and we wanted to put them with Philly, and he came on our show and said, we could play with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Whew.
Throw all that out the window.
Ooh.
Now,
Now,
Maestro said it. Maestro stands on it. Throw all of that out the window. Y'all are probably, I am confident based on your schedule that y'all going to be 1 or 2 seed in the NFC.
mm-hmm.
With that being said, y'all want no smoke with Philly or with San Fran. And look, I'll reach, maybe even Dallas.
And we're gonna find out because they play each other.
I know.
In December, so we're gonna definitely find out.
And look, and it's okay. This is their second season being a good team. Maybe like they just getting into this being good and changing the culture of their team, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But all the media talk about this team being up there based on their record with we can dead that. That's dead.
They have a run, and I normally don't like to combine half seasons with the following half seasons, but when you kind of look at the record, they've won 13 out of 16 games over the course of the last 16 games.
The
so
Steelers are 11-4 too, but
of course.
So I mean, look,
of course. And I disclaimed it by not really liking to do that, but you could tell when they finished strong last year that there was the hope that they would continue to do what they're doing, and they have.
Yeah,
I mean,
and purposes, but here they are. And I tweeted about it. They can't play with these teams unless these teams are dropping passes, and I don't intend on the 49ers dropping passes. I don't intend on the Eagles dropping passes. Maybe that's a little more reasonable with the Cowboys, maybe. But
yeah.
But
and anything with the Cowboys is possible. But
yeah.
But
We can go ahead and put them in that second tier of the NFC. That's where I stand.
Yeah, that's fair, man. Let me give a quick shout out. Terrell Suggs was inducted into the Ravens Ring of Honor before the game Sunday. Had the ceremony out, the legends came out, some of the vets, the alumni. Ozzy spoke. A few other guys showed up, and I wish that he would have came out with the mask that he used to come out with, coming out through the tunnel. But the moment I saw that, I'm like, man, these niggas ain't ready for this. This is fire right now. And needless to say, we bust ass. We bust the Lions' ass in that football game. 38-6. Offense looking crisp as ever. Receivers caught passes. And the Lions just didn't know what to cover. Look, I saw you tweet talking about you wanted to see what the Commanders was doing. I kind of had to sneaky laugh at that because the Commanders got their own problems.
It was because I'm watching football.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching this game because obviously we had been talking a lot last week, and obviously I got a root interest for the Lions.
Yep.
So with that being said, this game got out of hand real fast.
Yep.
The O-line for the Ravens showed up. And if that O-line shows up, the offense is gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I mean, it's just too many options for the Lions to cover in that game. I mean, we let Ricard out in the flat, and the dude ran 20, 25 yards. And I get it. You don't game plan to cover a fullback, but the fact that we had the fullback streaking down the field 20 yards with the ball was just something. It was sort of an indictment on how this game ended up defensively for Detroit.
The Lions shit the bed. Period.
So, yeah.
Period. I sometimes games don't need a whole bunch of analysis. They shit the bed. Period.
Yeah.
And maybe this was a litmus test game. This was. This was a where y'all at game.
Yep.
And they showed exactly where they are.
Yep.
They're a second tier team.
Yep. But they're probably gonna get the number 1 seed. They're probably gonna be a top 2 seed in the conference. I mean, if you're the 2
seed, because the schedule is the schedule.
The schedule's the schedule. And say what you want about the opener against Kansas City, but we know what was up in that opener. No Kelsey, no Chris Jones.
Kadarius Toney.
Right, you're right. You're talking about drop passes that that certainly happened there. So
now, and look, I don't want to. I'm not. This is not me taking away that game from Detroit, because one way or the other, a win is the win.
Yeah.
But some things go differently, and maybe we're not having this conversation. So
absolutely. But Detroit, to their credit, and I said it when it happened, they did the fake punt on the first drive deep in their own territory, and once they converted that, they had to score a touchdown, and they did that. And that might have been the play or sequence that won them that football game, even though that happened in the first quarter. So, I mean, they knew what they was up against. They clearly, with that play call, they knew what they were up against. So I give them that.
Dan Campbell is clearly the right amount of stupid, and I mean stupid in a positive way in this conversation, meaning you take that kind of risk and it pays off. You're a genius. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So shout out to Dan Campbell. Shout out to the Lions in the future. But right now, all that talk that the media, and I don't want to put this necessarily on C-Hen, because C-Hen was being real objective about it. Like,
yeah, definitely being cautious about it for certain.
We can play with them, but he wouldn't come out and say, nah, we up there with them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I think this game is it was kind of the reason for his being hesitant. Mm-hmm. We don't know that this Detroit Lions team is that yet. And the Ravens showed that they are not that yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a couple more things. And not so much to the game, but so I'm on a timeline, I'm watching the game, and I see this Donnie Simpson looking ass nigga on some Lions.
That he do look like Donnie Simpson.
He do.
But
like
I don't like Donnie Simpson.
And I love Donnie Simpson. I love Donnie Simpson.
It feels like you don't.
Huh?
It feels like you don't when you speaking negatively about somebody that look like him.
Well, I'm speaking negatively about the fact that he was, talking smack about my quarterback after we're, kicking his team's ass. And you know what I'm saying? And the crazy part about it is too, like, on first glance, I really did think that was Donnie Simpson at first before, I got a little more into the video and stuff, and it had me thinking Donnie Simpson, again, DC legend, radio legend.
Always been a Commanders fan.
Well, he's from Detroit. Let's remember, Donnie Simpson's from Detroit, and I've heard him on the radio once or twice before say that he does root for the Lions. So I don't know about the Commanders thing. Maybe that's just because he's been in DC for so long.
Maybe. Yeah.
But him being a Detroit native, he claimed the Lions. So that was kind of the crazy thing about it. Watching that video of this dude that looked like him, and it's like, dude, why are you talking this smack, man? Your team is getting blown out, and you talking smack about my quarterback. My quarterback's got an MVP, bro. Your quarterback was dumped because he couldn't score points in a Super Bowl. So
okay. I mean, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, right?
But let's be clear, Jeff Fisher had him fucked up. So let's be clear about that.
So. Sure. McVay had him, working,
I mean,
though.
He had him looking a little better, yeah.
Right.
He need to get out of St. Louis or LA or...
And to Goff's credit, he's redeemed himself
absolutely
as a legit quarterback since coming to Detroit. So I'll give him that. But Lions fan, that Lions fan, and shout out to Rita, the NFL chick, but she had to get spicy with some Lions fans also. I don't know who else was talking trash out there, but look, man, y'all gonna have to go back to the drawing board, and y'all gonna have to figure some stuff out, because you're gonna see teams like this when y'all get to the playoffs. You're gonna see teams like the Ravens come through. So y'all got some stuff to clean up, man, for certain. So the Steelers got a win over the Rams, and I'll just say my 2 cents real quick here. the T.J. Watt interception to open the third quarter to me was the turning point in the game, even though the Rams did take a lead, after that. But I thought that play right there was, important to the Steelers winning the football game. So it seems to me like if you don't bust the Steelers' ass, you're not going to beat the Steelers, at least through 7 games of the season. It seems like if you keep this team hanging around, they're going to win. They're going to clip you in the end. But
we're going to find a way. Yeah, we're going to find a way.
Yeah, but if you bust their ass like Houston and San Francisco did, then, you're Gucci. That's what it seems like so far.
I mean, well, games. that's what the record says. The record, I mean, our 2 losses are the blowouts. Our 4 wins are those games. Look, I'd be lying to you if I said I had super high expectations at this stage of the season. But hey, man, keep winning games. Just keep winning games. This offense clearly needs to get better. Mm-hmm. This run defense clearly needs to get better. I don't like being gashed by who the hell is their running backs for the Rams now?
Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson. He came back.
He was literally they said he was literally on the couch last week, and then there was another guy, Royce Freeman, who also came in and was job cooking us. Yeah. It seems like we're not going to get this run defense together until Cam Hayward comes back. Hey man, I am so sick and tired of Minkah Fitzpatrick leading the team in tackles. It is so like we had a game plan that we wanted him to stay back and play safety this game, but because we were getting gashed, we couldn't do it, man. I like that Mason Cole didn't play a terrible game at center. Aaron Donald was chilling. Look, a win is a win. Not no whole bunch of a win is a win is a win. It's not a whole bunch of.
Take one. You gotta get it when you can get it. You gotta get it, even if the refs mess up. Because here's what I want you to do, Maestro. Just acknowledge on the fourth down, the ball that they spotted on the field. That was a bad spot, but they gave it to y'all, and y'all get out there with a win.
You said you want me to do what?
No, just acknowledge that
I ain't acknowledging
the refs.
Shit.
Yeah, okay.
I ain't acknowledging shit.
Yeah, okay. Don't.
Here we go.
Yeah, okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
They don't get asking me to acknowledge nothing. I'm already sick. Don't get me to asking me to acknowledge nothing.
So the ref made the right call.
Hey, the ref made the call that made the right call.
Did the ref make the right call?
I'm not being objective right now. A win is a win.
Nigga, stop it, bro. The ref screwed the Rams right there at that point in the game.
I mean, hey, some would say that taunting call was bullshit on the Deontay Johnson taunting call that Killer Witherspoon was some bullshit too.
Okay, all right.
Some would say that.
Right. I'm just saying let's call out the refs. Period on both sides. That's kind of my point. Like,
hey, tell Sean McVay to keep his timeouts. How about
that? And quite frankly,
tell Sean McVay to keep his timeouts. How about that?
And quite frankly, the refs was terrible throughout the league on Sunday. They was terrible everywhere.
Y'all got way more ref problems to worry about than what the Steelers did. What they did with the Steelers and Rams game.
Oh yeah,
they got way more.
Obviously the blatant one was in the Cleveland Colts game. Like that was the blatant one where they called PI on I guess it was the Cooper catch that wasn't, but Cooper couldn't. It was an uncatchable ball, and yet they still threw out the flag, and it gave the Browns first and goal at like the half-yard line.
Yeah,
and you know what? And I hate saying this, but I think you kind of got to credit the Browns in that kind of sequence there. First and goal, second and goal, third and goal, because they had to throw. I mean, with no timeouts, they kind of had to throw that ball. And then once they got the fourth and goal, you kind of knew, okay, let's get Kareem Hunt in the game and let's just, punch this in because, that was the play that was either going to win them or lose them the game there. But I do have to acknowledge that Myles Garrett was being an animal in that game. 2 forced fumbles, 2 sacks, a block kick. And and it's got people, and I want to bring this up too because I know we've kind of had this it's not really a back and forth, but we've had the T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett talk of who's the best defensive player and all this stuff, who has more impact, and I've said it for a while. T.J. Watt, I think, has the most impact on the team when it comes to wins and losses. It seems like Myles Garrett, while he does impact the defense when it comes to wins and losses, it doesn't necessarily translate. The fact that he had that stat line, and this was a 31-30 ball game, kind of tells you everything. Like, it's wild. Like, you would have thought with that stat line that they'd be blowing the Colts out.
I mean, I don't know. I won't necessarily say that, but what I'll say is, and look, shout out to Myles Garrett, maybe top 3 as far as defensive players in the league.
It's him, T.J. Watt, and Micah Parsons. If you're talking about the 3, it's those 3 there.
Okay, I mean, okay. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, T.J. Watt is number 1. I ain't really concerned with all that other.
That's not crazy. I mean, that's not crazy to say.
They make it seem like it's crazy, and I ain't in the mood to rehash that conversation. But I'll say it, and I'll say it again. T.J. Watt is the best defensive player in the league right now.
Nothing crazy about that. And, I think other people have their opinions. Some people say it's Micah Parsons, and some people say it's Myles Garrett. And, I mean, when you look at the tape, I don't think it's crazy to say either one of those 3 can be number 1. But I'll reiterate.
I'm sorry, I think it's crazy to say that T.J. Watt ain't number 1. You could argue 2 and 3.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I'm just saying when you look at the tape of those players individually, I can't blame anybody. I mean, any one of those 3 can be number 1. I will give the edge to TJ because of the wins and losses and the impact that he has on wins and losses for the Steelers.
Okay. We agree.
What else? I mean, what else kind of? Well, let's talk Commanders. Can we do that?
Yeah. Look, man, it's a short shorter conversation and everything else. Look, man, hey, Jonathan Allen is sick of this fucking shit, and he got every right to be. Look, it was a somber day at my workspace Monday.
Yep.
Look, man, this team has the talent to be and I'm just talking about talent.
Mm-hmm.
This team has the talent to be up there with the Lions second tier team. Like they have the talent to be around that area. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Rivera got to go. I've been saying it for a little while now.
Yeah.
Jack, they're calling for Jack Del Rio. I'm okay with it. Let him go.
Which they've been doing. Yep.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Let him go. Hey, man, Josh Hearns and Magic Johnson got to get in here and do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And if they expecting to have winning seasons in the future, it's got to start this offseason, if not sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking to a fan. I was talking to a Commanders fan, Monday, talking to a coworker. He only see them winning 2 more games this year, looking at the schedule. Like, I literally went looking through the schedule with him, and he only see 2 more games on the schedule that they could win. He's done.
Wow.
Everybody in there done. I mean, these are people that had Sam Howell being a Pro Bowler, 13-4 records. That, like, all these things are out the window by week 7.
Yeah. You know what? Let the kid play. I know there's been conversations about, is he the guy? Do we need to go out and get somebody else?
That's another thing the fan base is saying.
Yeah.
Draft a quarterback first round.
Yeah. Look, that's fine. I'm just saying, let the season play out and just keep Sam Howell in there as a starter. Just let it play out.
I agree.
I've said the same.
1 year.
Right. I said the same thing about Desmond Ridder in Atlanta. There's been questions about him, and he didn't have a great day on Sunday either with the fumbles and the turnovers in the red zone. But if you're the Falcons, stick with Desmond Ridder, and if you think you need a quarterback, then I mean, there's hopefully going to be some quarterbacks coming out in the draft, this coming draft.
Yeah, Bo Nix, the cat from Washington,
Right.
Caleb Williams,
Yep. And I guess it kind of depends on how the Falcons finish, because even though they're first in the division, I mean, I don't guarantee that the Falcons are going to win the South. I mean, that's the one division that's really like up in the air, minus the Panthers. Like you really don't know what team you're going to get out of those other three there. So if the Falcons somehow win 8 games, then they're not really going to be in position to draft high. So
yeah,
that's something that they're going to have to figure out
I think they stick with them.
Yeah, no, I think so too, and they would be right to do so. Just stick with the guy and then just evaluate in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like they built this amazing team around him. Like, yeah, you got to give him time.
Yeah. Nah, I'm with you there.
Same thing for Sam Howell. Y'all didn't put a good team around that offensive line playing like shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm watching Commanders fans are showing me tape. Hey man, look at this. Look at this. 3-man rush, wide open, just running stunts on. Giants just running stunts on them and getting to the quarterback. That's
wild. That's wild.
40 sacks I think it's 40 sacks this year for Sam Howell this year, something like that.
40?
I believe so.
He's been sacked 40 times?
I believe so.
Oh, damn.
I mean, he got sacked like 7-8 times against Atlanta.
Damn. I gotta check that. I'm
pretty sure it's something like that.
I know the Giants have allowed a bunch of sacks this season. Damn, I didn't realize it was in the 40s. Or I mean, what's it, 7 games? We're 7 games through and 40 sacks. That's
what I believe.
I mean, that's gonna be worse than what David Carr got when he first got in the league, some years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, that I believe it's 40. I believe he's been sacked 40 times this year. Don't quote me, but quote me. I believe he's been sacked 40 times.
That's crazy. And you know what else is crazy? That there's now in New York, they've now created a Daniel Jones versus Tyrod Taylor conversation, which is it's silly. It's really silly at this point.
Silly, and like what you mean? What they've been saying?
Oh, Tyrod Taylor's the better quarterback. And, look, I root for the black quarterbacks, but I think we know at this stage of the game who Tyrod Taylor is. And to a certain degree, we kind of know who Daniel Jones is. To a certain degree. But I think when Daniel Jones gets healthy, whenever that is, he's going to get his job back.
Well, of course he's going to. Yeah. Let's be clear. Yeah, he's going to get his job back.
Yep.
But I think the only thing that separates Daniel Jones from Tyrod Taylor is youth.
Right.
Daniel Jones ain't that much better than Tyrod Taylor. I just don't see it. He got wheels on him though. Daniel Jones. He will run, and when he runs, he's effective running.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't know that he's that much of a better passer than Tyrod Taylor. I don't know that he's a better passer than Tyrod Taylor, to be honest with you.
But it's kind of like if you stick with Tyrod, it's like, okay, he put up 14 points against the Commanders, and I know the Commanders' D-line is good, but overall the Commanders are not a very good football team right now.
And more than that, they didn't pay Tyrod Taylor. They paid Daniel Jones. So
that too. But it's not like the offense looks extremely different, with Tyrod being back there. Let's remember, just the previous week, we got on Tyrod because he changed into a run play at the end of the first half and walked away with no points when they could have got 3 on the board there. So, now all of a sudden we're creating this, quarterback controversy that really I don't think there is one.
Narratives always change between wins and losses, man.
Sure.
Like defy Matt Canada chants aren't as loud this week. So
Yo, you know what's crazy about that? So I was flipping through channels and I don't know how I stumbled upon a Penguins game. Obviously, hockey season started already, but they was chanting Fire Canada at the Penguins game.
Yeah.
Yo, when you know it's bad, bruh, when the other team in town is chanting for the offensive coordinator to be fired, that's wild.
Well, I'll say this in Matt Canada's defense. He didn't call a bad game this Rams game, and plays started to work in the fourth quarter. So, at least for this week.
Well, you got some reinforcements back. You got Deontay back.
That changes things.
Fryer move. Did Fryer move?
He's still out. He's on IR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought I heard somebody say he was coming back, but
no, he's on IR.
But yeah, you gotta reinforcement back.
Deontay Johnson changes things. They can't focus on George Pickens with Deontay Johnson on the field. That changes. It just flat out changes things, and you saw it on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll see moving forward. Who y'all got next?
Jacksonville.
So is that in Pittsburgh or is that in Jacksonville?
That is, don't quote me, I don't know, but I could tell you in 2 seconds because I keep that type of shit loaded up. Just when I gotta talk some Pittsburgh Steelers talk. It is in Jacksonville. I'm sorry, it's at home. I'm sorry.
It's at home in Pittsburgh.
Game.
Okay.
It's at Acrisure, yeah.
Okay. Jacksonville coming off of a win.
Yeah, don't worry. You already know where I'm going with that. So.
Oh, I know, and you already know where I'm going with that too. So,
yeah.
So looks
I think
like
she's saying she can't hear.
Yeah.
Audio.
Oh, here we go. You. We can hear you. We heard you for like a nanosecond, and then it just kind of went back out again. But I think by the time I introduce her, she'll have her audio up. So. Like I said, I met her at Knicks Cavs Game 4 earlier this year in the playoffs. Had some dope conversations. Definitely wanted to bring her on. She's one of the dopest Knicks content creators out there. Dope Soul Sports Talk is the platform which you can find on YouTube. She also has a couple of more platforms. Queen's Court is one of them. She also is a contributor for Nothin But Knicks. Shout out again to the homie Sim Russell on that front. Let's welcome in BK Steph, aka Queen, again. Wow.
No, we could hear her. I don't think she could ever hear yet.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, she can get her audio things situated, and hopefully we can get her back on here.
Sure. So yeah, man. So did you hear Michael Irvin on airing his son out the other day?
No, I didn't hear that.
I don't know I don't remember exactly what the context was.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently Michael Irvin's son used to be a rapper, and did I write down what the context was? They was talking about something on Skip's show.
Okay.
And they was basically saying that he was. I don't know what they was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Irvin's son rap, and he talking about the gun. He doing the young shit.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know where these lyrics came from because he ain't never been in the streets. Obviously Michael Irvin been rich all his child's life probably, so he ain't been outside to be rapping about this type of stuff he rapped about.
Yeah.
And so I went to go look at the dude rap. Look at the dude raps on YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
First of all, for Michael Irvin to put this dude out here, and this dude ain't put out a record since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, come on, Mike, come on, playmaker, you ain't had to do that, bruh. Why you ain't got?
But where did it stem from? Like what made him?
I can't remember what the conversation. I can't remember what the segment was. All I remember. Man, you're making me go.
So he did this on Undisputed?
Yeah. Huh. They was talking about something. Look, don't give me the line. I just didn't like the fact that he needed to air out his son, who hadn't been putting out rap records since 2019. Like what was that? But I guess he did get some streams because as I'm going through the YouTube comments, it was like, yeah, man, your father just sized you up.
Smart
because maybe it was marketing, but I'm
Smart
like, bro,
marketing.
I'm like, buddy ain't even put out no record since 2019. Like, why would you even air him out like that?
And guess what? He gonna put some records back out in 2023.
Maybe.
Just based off of this.
But now they got everybody talking about he a fraud. They gonna be like, oh, well, he a fraud. But I mean, I guess most of these niggas be fraud rapping. So I mean, I guess. You want to talk about last night, man? How San Fran?
Yeah. That was another surprising. I mean, this whole weekend of football games has just been some surprising stuff. And we got to get into the Bills at some point.
I mean, we still got to talk about Philly and Miami. That's why I figured we can get through all this while we waiting for the guests to get their audio together. Hey, shout out to my man Wise. Shout out my man Rod.
Yep. And shout out Gina too. Shout out
Gina. Can't forget Gina.
Yep.
Hey man. I'll say this. As I, you know what I'm saying? Is
this because they blew y'all out week 1? Are you about to?
No, honestly, because let's be clear before I find some shit to talk.
Okay.
This doesn't change the projection for me for the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, I was about to say, because nothing. There's nothing.
Nothing changed. I mean, look. They missed a field goal against Cleveland. And if they don't miss that 40-yard field goal, they win that game.
Yep.
And this game, so then we would only be talking about this game when, let's be clear, they were dominated in this game. Dominated. The score don't tell the story. They were dominated. Cam Akers, Jordan Addison, Kirk motherfucking Cousins.
That offensive line for the Vikings.
But more than that, I think they got the ball out fast. Like the offensive line wasn't.
Well, that too, but I mean,
I think Kirk Cousins got the ball out fast. He didn't hold the ball long, and at no point of that game. So it's that, and you know, I saw your tweet. Like we sitting there looking at that, like, all right, when is Kirk going to cut in, and when is But this is what they did.
The primetime lights, yeah.
Yeah, but this is what the Minnesota Vikings did. Shout out to Brian Flores. They I don't want to say eliminated C-Mac, but they certainly minimized Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, and it's easy to do that. And it's easy to do that when you don't got Debo on the field, and you know you're missing one of the key pieces to that offense, and it's just easier to key in on a guy like Christian McCaffrey. Now, he did kill him in the past game. He kind of killed him a little bit, just a little bit. But as far as stopping the run, they did that.
I think when you put it on Brock Purdy, you're now asking Brock Purdy to be one of those quarterbacks. And I get that the stats would suggest that he's one of them quarterbacks, but I think what we found out in this game and even the Cleveland game is that Brock Purdy ain't Jalen Hurts. You know, Brock Purdy ain't Purdy might not be Kirk Cousins, but as far as skill, I
was gonna say it's the skill set. I want to touch on the skill set for a second because I don't think we've never put Brock and Jalen Hurts in the same sentence when it came to skill set. So I'm not surprised about that.
No. The only reason I'm saying that is because they're in clear competition with Philadelphia for the NFC.
Of course, I get that.
That's the only reason I'm talking about Jalen Hurts.
Gotcha.
I'm not comparing.
Gotcha.
We clearly know that Brock Purdy ain't. That's not the. And we also understand that Brock Purdy is more of a
system.
Yeah, it's just no way to slice it. I get that he has to make the throws and all those things that people are saying. Yeah, but skill, talent wise, we found out that for anybody who had a question about who Brock Purdy was, we know that Brock Purdy is a good quarterback who can follow instructions. And I said that about him last year.
Okay.
Like what's good about Brock Purdy is that when you got a coach that can coach you, he's going to listen to exactly what you say and not deviate too much outside of what the game plan was. So if it's a good game plan, Brock Purdy is going to be good. The problem is that he didn't have to do the problem this game is that the flow was thrown off. Running game not working.
Yeah, right.
Running game not working, so now it's a little bit more on Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy got to make things happen. And Brock Purdy, I think we found out, is not necessarily that guy. And that's going to mean something. Talking about us having to see Philadelphia in the NFC Championship, if that's what the championship is going to be, the conference championship is going to be,
which we got some glimpse of last year. It's just that Brock got hurt early, and then
I don't think he got hurt way
down.
too early to have to put a grade on that. Yeah,
of course. But a lot of people say if Purdy was healthy, it would have been a different game. I'm not so sure that they would have won. I do believe
it would have been a different game.
Yeah, it would have been a different game. I'm not sure that they would have won the game, but I don't think it would have been a blowout. As far as this loss is concerned, it changes nothing. I feel the same way about San Francisco. They're going to be a division winner. They're going to be the tops in the NFC. You're going to have to go through them to kind of get to where you got to go. So that changes nothing for me. I think on the Vikings side of it, now they're 3-4, and I think their outlook as far as because people have been having conversations about maybe they need to go ahead and trade some of their guys, like a Danielle Hunter was a name that was brought up in a trade, a deadline trade option. Kirk Cousins was another name thrown out there, even though I never really believed that, because you don't see starting quarterbacks go at the trade deadline. Like that's not something that is, I don't think you're ever going to see that. You know what I'm saying? So, right. You're never going to see that. You're never going to see that with any starting quarterback for that matter. So, now 3-4, and I know they got some games in the North left to complete. They got some games against the NFC South, and maybe this win kind of catapults them a little bit. I know you had them winning the North when we did predictions and stuff like that. So how do you feel about the Vikings as of now moving forward? And keep in mind, there's still no Justin Jefferson, and we don't know when he's going to come back.
I don't feel no extra way. I know that they're gonna have to beat Detroit, and Detroit is. I mean, they're beatable. They're beatable.
Yeah, division game. Those things always can be
beatable.
Splits. Yep,
they're beatable. So, you kind of put the bug in my ear last week when we talked about Detroit's schedule with C. Hen. Detroit could have the number 1 and number 2 seed.
Yeah.
So if Minnesota wins the division, Minnesota is going to have that kind of seeding, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So am I ready to say that Minnesota is going to be the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC? Because I can't imagine their schedule being that much more different, right?
Not that much more different, but they do gotta because they played the big dogs already. They played Philly. They got San Francisco out the way last night. I mean, like I said,
they were number 1 seed last year.
No, they were the 3 seed. They were the 3 seed.
3 seed in the North. So okay. Oh, so yeah. So I mean, actually, they could, if they beat Detroit, as far as the North, they could definitely be a 1 or 2 seed. So yeah, I'll stand by my predictions right now, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, because I had Detroit winning the division. I'll stick to that. I had the Vikings out the playoffs. I'll stick to that, but I will acknowledge that this win last night did give them some life. Yeah.
Good win.
Good quality win.
Good win. Good win.
Good quality win for them. We'll see.
I hope. I know Rod. I seen Rod. It was Rod Oldwise. Shout out to Rod Oldwise. I don't. One of them said something about San Fran not really looking at this team seriously yesterday, and that they needed some humbling. For their sake, I hope y'all got the humbling that y'all needed. Cause that was a humbling.
Yeah.
That was a humbling.
Yeah. I mean, 2 weeks in a row now. Granted, different looking games, but
sure. And not to keep bringing up Philly, But Philly just signed Kevin Byard, and they still trying to get Patrick Surtain out of Denver.
Now I didn't hear about the Patrick Surtain story.
They're trying to get him out of Denver.
Okay.
One thing that the Eagles have been pretty successful at in the past 2 or 3 years is getting the motherfuckers they want to get.
Them off-season, like them mid-season deadline trades.
And Kevin Byard playing safety in Philadelphia.
Howie Roseman ain't playing. Howie Roseman is not playing.
Is a problem. And then they just, excuse me, and then they just put that ass whooping Sunday night on Miami. Mm-hmm. This is a problem, man.
How do I feel about that game? Because the score wouldn't dictate that it was an ass whooping, but I see why you. 17? But I see why you say it was an ass whooping because that offense for Philly really, I mean, it was really unstoppable in so many ways. I mean, minus the turnover that turned it to points for Miami to tie it up 17-17. It was relatively still a ball game up until the Eagles, in the fourth, they pulled away at the end there. This game was closer than I think the play on the field indicated. If that makes any sense.
You said that it was closer than what the play on the field indicated?
Yeah.
Look, man, they lost by 2 touchdowns. The turnover is the turnover. You got to give credit where credit is due. The turnover is the turnover.
Yeah. They had their chances. All you can say about the Dolphins is they had their chances, and the offense for Philly was just too much in the end.
Yeah, this was an ass whooping in my book. I get it that I mean it's clear who was better in the trenches, and I know Miami had offensive line injuries heavy.
But that's where the dominance was. Like I'm agreeing with you. Yeah. Like when you look at their style of play versus what Miami was trying to do, that's where the dominance was at. It just, to me, I didn't really get that from the score versus what I saw on the field. Because again, it was 17-17, and then the Eagles in the fourth quarter they pulled away, to come out with the dub.
Well, okay. I mean,
it was winnable. It was winnable. It was winnable for Miami. I mean, at least they wasn't Detroit. They weren't Detroit.
yeah, but that was an ass whooping. Yeah,
that was an ass kicking.
That was an ass whooping. No, I'm talking about the Philly Miami. I know. That was an ass whooping. I get what you're saying that they were still in the game, but I never. No point in that game that I feel like, even when they tied it off the when Tyreek Hill outran the corner and the safety for the touchdown.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like Miami was in control of this game, man.
I agree with you. Like I had Philly winning, so like if they'd beat them by 7 points, okay, cool. I still have Philly winning despite however the game went from beginning to end, and I think the one play I think they're going to take back when Miami watches this film is Tyreek Hill bobbling that ball. If he holds on to that, that's a touchdown. I don't know if you saw that highlight where he, Tua catches him in stride and he just kind of loses the ball. It goes in the end zone and goes out of bounds. So that's something I'm sure they want to have back because that could have been, one of those plays that could have turned that game around for them.
Look, man. We know that that's what makes Miami dangerous more than anything on their team. Tyreek Hill makes them dangerous more than anything on their team because no matter how good your trenches are, it just so happens that Tua could throw one to get one up in the air. Yeah. In the vicinity of Tyreek Hill, it might get to Tyreek Hill because of the speed. So I get it, but he didn't catch it, and Philadelphia held and pulled away. Two touchdown lead at the end of the game. I can't sit here. That looked bad. That looked bad for Miami. And again, let's be clear. Miami's fine.
Yep,
they're absolutely fine. But that was much like Detroit. That was a loss that you didn't really want to take if you're trying to get to the next level as far as winning culture and being a good team.
Yep. All right, we can put the NFL talk on pause for a minute here. So we finally got our guest in here, folks. She goes by the name of BK Steph. I met her at Knicks Cavs Game 4 in the playoffs earlier this year. Had some dope conversations. She's one of the best Knicks content creators out there. She's got her own show, Dope Soul Sports Talk, which you can find on YouTube. Also is a contributor for Nothin But Knicks. Shout out to the homie Sim Russell, who's been on the show as well. BK Steph, thank you, a.k.a. Queen, as they like to call you, on your show. How you doing? I'm glad you got the audio worked out.
First of all, thank you for having me. You guys can hear me okay?
Yes, clear.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I feel so embarrassed because the system knob was not up. That's it.
I knew it was something simple.
It's something so simple. So I apologize. And again, I appreciate you two having me on to talk NBA basketball and talk Knicks basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. But first, before we get into all that, because I want to know the history behind your podcast and your contributions to creating Knicks content and basketball content and all that. So just kind of give us a history on, how you got started. How did you link up with Sim to do Nothin But Knicks and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I think it was just a coincidence. I was listening to, audio podcast around the Knicks, and I was actually relatively new to listening to podcasts. And then I went on YouTube to search for something totally different. Mm-hmm. And I came across the Nothin But Knicks show. And I was like, it just blew my mind. I didn't even know this community existed. And at the time, he had Mark was on there. Mm-hmm. A couple of fellas was on there. And the analysis and the takes were really good. But the camaraderie and the chemistry and the entertainment,
right?
I was looking because they were funny. They were going at it. I'm like, I'm getting Knicks content. I'm getting entertained at the same time. So I continued to listen to them, and I got up enough nerve. It took me maybe about 2 weeks from listening in. I called up to the show once to DM Sim and ask, can I come on the show?
Yeah.
And he said yes. And I came on the show, and I probably was there for a month or so. And then he asked me if I was interested in hosting a show. And that's how the Queen's Court came about. I think I did that for over a year. But I'm still doing it, but over a year before I decided to start my own channel. So it was I just logged on to YouTube and saw them. And it opened up a whole new world from that.
For sure. Let's talk about your Knicks love.
Yeah. Talk about my Knicks.
So where did this? How long? Where did it start? What got you into the Knicks?
This started back in the early 80s. Okay. I just happened to be the same thing, switching channels, and I saw a basketball game. It wasn't the Knicks. I think it was the Philadelphia 76ers. Mm-hmm. And I was playing basketball at the time, and I was like, wow, this is great. And the next thing you know, I started, watching the Knicks. And this was before Patrick Ewing, probably 2 years before Patrick Ewing was drafted. Mm-hmm. The lean years, Kenny Bannister, Pat Cummings. I mean, this was the lean years of the Knicks. And 2 years later, Patrick Ewing was drafted, and I was following Georgetown. Yeah. So I was super happy when that happened. The entire building that I lived in shook when we won the lottery. So I guess I wasn't the only one watching. And it's been a love affair since then, since the good times and the bad times. Obviously, the 90s with Patrick and Oak and Starks, to me, was the best time.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty painful.
That's being nice, Steph. That's being nice.
Yeah, it's been pretty painful.
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't been that much better on my side either, so not that much better.
Yeah, I know. And the thing about it now, you guys going through a rebuild.
Yeah.
We can't even get the pick. So it's just always
So,
something, right? That pick is
yeah.
not gonna convey. So it is
Mm-mm.
what it is.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about this, Steph? Because I heard some stuff this morning, and I guess it's somebody who covers the Sixers put out a tweet and said that the Knicks were willing to give up 3 of these 4 names, and I think the names was Julius Randle,
Yep.
R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and I think Evan Fournier
Evan Fournier.
for Joel Embiid, along with a couple of first rounders to go along with that. Now, I call BS on it. I think it's more about what the Sixers are trying to do with with the James Harden situation, but I'm curious to know what you think about that.
Yeah, that's a tough one on multiple fronts. I heard a revised one. I saw a revised one maybe a few hours ago that didn't have Randall um, in it. Um, I don't think this is a championship contending team.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
And I don't even think if you let this team, as they say, marinate, is going to grow into a championship contending team. I just don't think, even at its ceiling, it's not, unless Randall and Brunson or somebody just turns into
Yeah.
a superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get needing a superstar. I'm not high on Embiid. I wouldn't be mad if the Knicks traded for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, for me, I want my best player to be able to operate on the wing,
Thank you.
create their own shot, because and Embiid is a monster. Sometimes you forget how talented he is, and then I was watching like an old 70s, and I said, "Look at this guy putting
Yeah.
the mid post or whatever." But come playoff, you can easily crowd a guy,
Yeah.
do things to take his game away, make it hard for him when they're not operating with the full length of the court as a wing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that would be my preference. In terms of what they're offering, I don't think it's a good fit. If this is true, I don't think Randall and Embiid are a good fit. I don't think on the same team.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's a lot. That's a lot. But the reality of the situation is, when you're going to get a star or a superstar, you basically have to start over. Like you give up your depth. You're going to get the best player in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you can hold on to Brunson. You're going to take a step back for a year, probably, while you build up the roster, because you're not going to have, I don't know if you're going to have a lot left. Like Grimes wasn't mentioned, but I don't think Grimes is ready for prime time just yet. Like when you get somebody like Embiid, you're ready for prime time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. That's a conversation. Yeah.
But in those situations, and I've watched the Heat do this over the years when LeBron was there, they've put vets around that team, toward the back end of him being there. Like, I think a situation like the Knicks, if they do trade for Embiid, what's going to happen is you're going to lose the depth, like you talked about, right? And then what's going to happen is you're going to have all this cap space not available for any potential other free agents or signings.
Right.
You're going to be getting vets like on a $1 million minimum. Like that. I mean, that's really how you're going to be building a championship type of a team. So,
well, you're not gonna do it in 1 year, no way though, because
Right.
who you gonna get? Taj Gibson? Like is they like at this, especially at this stage of the season just starting, there's not a whole lot of vets that's just sitting around that's ready to support Brunson and Embiid. And I agree with you 100%. You best better find a way to get Randall out of there, because having both of them on the floor at the same time is just going to clog up a whole bunch of space. And I'm not comparing Randall to Embiid in no stretch of the imagination, but they kind of want to do the same kind of things. So
Randall wants to do what Embiid does. Let's clear that up.
Well, I'm talking about in what they want to achieve on the court.
Sure.
Game, like they're trying to do the same thing. So in turn, either you to have space, you're putting Randall on the bench, or you're getting rid of him.
Right.
And you're not putting Randall on the bench unless you want that locker room headache. So you got to get rid of him.
Yeah,
So,
you got to trade him. Yeah.
Yeah, he got to be in the package. He
Yep.
has to be in the package.
Has to be. Yeah.
Has to
But
be.
this is the
100%.
other question I have, though. When we talk about, Brunson, Embiid, and a lot of minimums, how is Phoenix doing it? How are the Lakers doing it? Because they don't just have like two top 10, two max players, because Brunson is going to be max at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
And just minimum guys. Phoenix at least has 3 of them before they went to their minimum guys.
Right.
And I don't know what the Lakers are doing out there. That
You know what they're doing.
To amass this talent.
You know what they're doing? They're going over that tax threshold. And Milwaukee kind of did the same thing with Giannis and Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. They going over the tax threshold. The Warriors did it for a few
Phoenix
years.
is clearly doing it.
Yeah, Phoenix is clearly doing it. They won a chip. Yeah, unfortunately, and they can do it. Let's be real. It's the number 1 market in the country. They can do it. They got the money to do it. It's just a matter of pulling the trigger.
What is and I ask you, Steph, what the hell is stopping them then?
To me, it seems like, and we don't know because they don't speak to the media, right? They don't speak to the fans, so we don't really know. It seems to me that they have a short list of players, and they're not budging until one of them become available. That's what it seems like to me. Now, for me, I feel like you can still improve the team. Yep. And if a superstar becomes available, just flip whoever you got, into the package for the superstar. I don't think you have to stand pat waiting for a superstar, but that's what it seems like they're doing.
Yeah. Where are you at with RJ Barrett in your mental mind?
Yeah, I'm not really high on RJ Barrett up to this point.
Yeah, up to this point. I will say
in the playoffs, he looked good in terms of the decision making, which is in his floor game in FIBA. His floor game decision making looked better, and in the preseason. So maybe he's taken a turn in that respect. But I'm talking about up to the playoffs.
Yeah,
wasn't really high. I felt like he's somebody that gets 20 points by taking a lot of shots, and there isn't anything else he does well. Now he's elite at getting to the basket, but he's not elite at finishing at the rim. 58%. I think it's under the 20th percentile for his position. You look at multiple stats for RJ Barrett, it just doesn't add up for the money we've paid. The money we've paid. I was looking at, this is so funny, I was looking at Kelly Oubre's numbers, and you guys get a chance, take a look at them for last season.
Yeah.
Similar to RJ Barrett. He took 17 shots a game, had 20 points. RJ took 16 and 12, whatever. Yeah. They were about the same in terms of inefficiency, whatever. But he's getting a minimum or something. And I get it. He's at his ceiling. And RJ Barrett may not be. But I just feel like we paid a lot of money. And with that production, we could have got that same production cheaper. Now, he can prove me wrong this year because he's looked good to me in the preseason. I don't expect him to ever be a good shooter. So I'm not really looking for that, but finish at the rim. If that's your bread and butter, finish at the rim.
Yeah.
No empty trips. You either getting fouled and hitting your free throws, or you setting somebody up for a good shot, a good look on your drives. And that's what I've seen in the preseason. So I'm pretty encouraged by that.
He's got to be like 48% shooting. If that's going to be his thing to get to the basket and finish, he's got to be at 48%.
At least.
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
But you know what's hurting him? I think he'll be better at the rim because in the preseason you can see he's absorbing contact and it's not throwing him off, and he's still getting up good shots.
Yeah.
But his 3-point shooting brings his overall percentage down.
That's true.
He's still putting them up. He's going to go 1 for 7, 1 for 8, 2 for 9. I'm like, so that's really bringing down his field goal percentage.
Yeah, for sure. So projections for the Knicks. Look, obviously they what was y'all 4 seed going in last year?
5 seed
going in last year. Smoked the Cavs. Let's be clear, smoked the Cavs. And then you get
surprisingly had home court because it was supposed to be Milwaukee. And we drew Miami, which we were excited about.
Y'all were excited, man.
We were excited about it. And look, Steph, we was at the game back in April. We was at game 4, and I remember dudes around us was like, "Yo, we want Miami." Like everybody wanted the Heat, you know, and we got them, and we couldn't do nothing with it.
We got that smoke, the Miami smoke.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah. So obviously Miami, well, I ain't gonna say obviously, but they lost some pieces to say the least. So Miami might not be there. What projection wise, what can the Knicks do this year in the playoffs? Because I got you guys in the playoffs one way or the other. But can y'all get past the second round?
I'm gonna say no, and it breaks my heart to say that. I think this team is built for the regular season. I have them at anywhere from 47 to 52 wins. I think we're built for the regular season. I'm not so sure we're built for the playoffs. We got Mitch who does his thing on the defensive end and on the offensive boards. But in the playoffs, you can use his guy, which Miami did and even Cleveland did.
Yeah.
To crowd the paint, double team, roam. And then you got RJ Barrett who doesn't shoot well. And so the spacing is just not there. I think in the playoffs, you got to have that shooting. You got to have everybody that's at least a threat.
Right.
And if you got one person who's not a threat, let's say Mitch, everybody else got to be, a threat to be able to, shoot the ball. So I don't think we're built for the playoffs. But I do think we get to the second round. I don't think we get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I know a lot of us think that's the next step, but we're a small team. We're playing Josh Hart at the backup power forward. I don't know. I don't know. I'm saying second round.
Okay, so with the excuse of you're the smaller, and you don't necessarily have the star. Like what do you think the Knicks' weaknesses are?
I think it's shooting. Hopefully that gets better.
Yeah.
Think about in the Miami series. So two things. One, the further you go in the playoffs, the tougher teams you face.
Yeah.
And then those teams are better able to exploit whatever weaknesses you have.
Sure.
And then one of the Knicks' weaknesses is shooting, inconsistent shooting. And in the playoffs, it got even worse.
Yeah.
So now Miami, what did Miami do? They packed in the key and they said, if we're going to lose, it's because they shot the lights out.
Yeah.
And we just weren't able to do that. And I'm not sure, maybe it's better. Maybe Grimes gets his feet under him and he shoots better in the playoffs. Maybe Quickly gets better. This is third time around. He shoots better in the playoffs. But you're going to still have that, maybe with Mitch, like Tibbs does, he takes him out, put Hartenstein in to kind of help with the spacing. But for me, it's the shooting and the spacing and everyone not being a threat on the court. That's what it is.
They addressed some of the shooting with the DiVincenzo signing. They did address that. That was something that I was hoping, if we didn't get a star in a trade with whoever was available, that they at least address their weaknesses. And I thought they did that with the DiVincenzo signing. Now, to your point about the team not being necessarily built for the playoffs in a sense, I halfway agree with you that the deeper you get in, that, they're not going to be built to last longer. But I got this team, and you could call me crazy, but the ceiling for me for them is the conference finals. Like you mentioned it as far as the team taking the next step. That is the next step. And I feel like if they do get there, then I think it does set up for the following offseason to maybe where somebody is available and looks at this team and says, ooh, this team was just a few wins away from the finals. I know if I could find my way over here that we could be, we could get there. We could finally, get over the hump. So for me, I look at it as it's the conference finals, or you're going to have some serious questions in the offseason. One question is going to be with the coach. What's his contract situation? Is he going to be a lame duck situation coach, right? Number two, where does this team go as far as the players that are currently on the roster? It's going to bring up a whole bunch of questions if this team bottoms out in the second round again.
I don't think so because
Didn't agree. I agree with you. I don't think so either.
Because look at, so in order to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, that means the Knicks beat Boston or Milwaukee, two teams that are better than the Knicks on paper. So if you don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals because you lose to Milwaukee or you lose to Boston, you're not the favorite in any one of those series. So I don't understand where the questions would come from. Now, if one of those, if they get bumped and now you're playing Cleveland in the second round or maybe playing Miami in the second round, then all right, I mean, we could talk about it.
Okay.
But
I can understand that.
To Boston and Milwaukee, that's nothing to be ashamed of. They're just better.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's say that does happen. A hypothetical, we go out to Boston, tough fought 7-game series. We go out. They're extending Tom Thibodeau at that point?
Absolutely. First of all, I feel like you should extend Tom Thibodeau now. I think the Knicks is just getting too fancy. We were a 21 win team. We were a hot mess.
Right.
Tom Thibodeau comes. We make the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. You got an all-star in Julius Randle, 2 all-NBA teams. Oh no, we want to see what you got to do this year. We're gonna see what else do you need to see? Yeah. So I don't get it, but I will say this. I don't even think it's about Tom Thibodeau. I think Dolan has the front office on notice, and Tom Thibodeau is tied to that front office. If the front office gets extended, Tom Thibodeau is going to get extended. It's a package.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's about Tom. I think it's about the whole regime that I think should have been extended by now.
Yeah.
Here's my criticism. Here's my criticism of Tom. In the playoffs, when our weakness is getting exposed of, lack of three-point shooting, and I'm watching all these other playoff teams struggling with whatever they struggled with, and put some guys off the bench that put them in the game that necessarily didn't get much playing time, found a way to get some guys off the bench, get some playing time, and maybe help extend their seasons, i.e. the Suns in the playoffs against Denver last year. Even though they lost the series, they still played some guys that didn't get playing time. The Lakers did that as well.
Lonnie Walker.
With Lonnie Walker, right. And that might have, they don't win that game 4, they probably don't get out that series against Golden State, right? So when I'm watching the Knicks against Miami and we're struggling from the 3, I'm at a point in my mind where it's like, can you at least put Fournier on the floor and see if he can give us something? Like that's what the great coaches do, right? Like they don't be stubborn and to stick with what they normally do. They got to pull a rabbit out of the hat somewhere, right? And so I thought in that moment, that's where Tom Thibodeau kind of didn't try to maybe help extend the series a little bit. So that's my one criticism about him.
I agree. I would have liked to have seen Fournier, but I will say this, and Tony Crow, shout out to Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises.
Shout out to
Tony.
When
the article came out that he did in a French, I don't know if it was a magazine or newspaper. One of the things he talked about Fournier was that toward the end of the season, he pretty much gave up because he knew he wasn't going to go in.
Right.
So when RJ Barrett got hurt, they had to look for him to put him in. Said that during the season, he doesn't usually go out to dinner with his wife because that's how locked in he is.
Yeah.
When he knew he was out of the rotation, he started going out, whatever. Tom Thibodeau is a trust guy. If there was any indication from Tom Thibodeau that Fournier wasn't locked in, he's not going to get that opportunity. That's the type of coach Tom Thibodeau is. You're not going to get that opportunity. Now, I agree with you. If that wasn't the case and he was locked in all season, absolutely. I wanted to see Fournier as well. But I will say, I want people to give Tom as much credit as they want to take away with his faults. Because the faults are magnetized. Oh, the rotation. He didn't put this one in. He needs to be fired. He needs to go.
Right.
But the good things he's done in terms of turning us around. like that gets minimized.
Right. And they bring up his past, too. They bring up his time with Chicago. They bring up his time with Minnesota and how that didn't work out, toward the end there with the Jimmy Butler stuff and the Cat stuff. And they bring that up. So, but clearly.
That's because Cat was soft. Butler coming in there trying to win. Cat talking about he want a family atmosphere.
Yeah, right.
Like, listen, come on.
Yeah.
Word.
For sure.
Hey, Steph. So my brother right here, he's got a Wizards jersey on. Can you give this man some form of hope for the season on like what to expect out of Jordan Poole, Tyus Jones?
Hold on. I'm sorry.
What?
You think I don't have no hope? I think I got reasonable expectations, and I'm gonna let you go, Steph. We don't play defense. Let's be clear. The Wizards do not play defense. Jordan Poole is going to score 25 and up a game because he's going to have the range to shoot as much as he wants to shoot.
Right.
I think that if we can score and we don't seem like we're going to have a terrible problem scoring, if we can score, we should be able to be anywhere between 6 and 8 in the playoffs.
Wow, that you are very optimistic. Oh, okay. Well, you don't need no help from me.
Yeah, I didn't know where you got that from.
You already there.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I will tell you who I like on your team, who I think is going to have a monster season and who is underrated, and he's finally getting his opportunity, and that's Gafford. I love that kid.
Yep.
You are going to see he's getting his opportunity. Double, 2 blocks a game. Book it.
Yeah. I'm with you. And look, say what you want about Tyus Jones. He ain't an all-star, and all those things are true. If he can get me 16 points and he can give me 7 assists a game, he all right with me. I
would say 15-6, but there's a lot of shots to go around. So he at 18. What's your thoughts on Kuzma? Do you like him?
I like him because when everything got dark and for some reason we decided to offload Montrezl Harrell and that nice little core we had for us for 2 months maybe, that he continued to play. He's kind of seeing the same opportunity that Jordan Poole is about to have this season, where it's like nobody else is around. Hey, we could just free range and shoot the ball. I have Jordan Poole at 25, but I also can see, and I've been saying it all summer, I can see Kuzma still scoring 20 to 25.
Oh, so no doubt.
I can see him still scoring 20 to 25. So if I'm getting that, and then the even if at a low, Tyus gives us 15. We're in a good position every game, regardless of the fact that we are not going to play any defense.
Who's your power forward? They starting Kuzma at small forward or power?
They're going to put him at power, and I think that it looks like they're going to put Denny at 3.
Okay.
That's what it's looking like.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said this is a team that's going to get the 6 or the 8 seed? Is that what I heard you say?
If we can, if everybody's scoring how I want them to score, between 8 and 6, I think we can get there.
And you just talked about defense too.
Look, man, it's still the East. It's still the East.
Sure. I get it.
It's still the East.
Somebody brought that up in the chat yesterday. Yeah. Somebody said Washington don't play. Washington don't play no defense, and then somebody in the chat said neither do the Knicks.
Neither do the Knicks. Okay. Yeah, that was a Knicks for clicks moment right there.
Look. Hey man, look.
Wow.
The East, the bottom half of the East there is nobody that scares you on the bottom half of the East.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's questionable. It's questionable.
Nobody scares you.
I think Orlando's going to be better. Indiana's going to be better. Remember, Indiana was in the thick of things before Halliburton went out.
Yeah.
Chicago was in the thick. Was it? No, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't see Chicago. Benny Donovan's probably going to lose his job.
The Bulls, there's something going on in Chicago, man.
He's going to lose his job.
Like they've been trying to get rid of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Like I don't know what their game plan is this year.
Their game plan
Start
is it's clear what their game plan is. And let's be clear. I know DeMar DeRozan had a couple of game winners, and he had some little cook-up moments last season. We know who DeMar DeRozan is, guys. Like, so if you're not going to put a team of dogs around him, one that's going to take shots, one that's going to take over games, DeMar DeRozan is a good player, but he's not that player that's going to take over a game when it matters. That's not who he is at this stage of his career, and frankly, that's not who he's ever been. Zach LaVine has more potential, but he's so inconsistent with scoring that, we don't have a lot of. Chicago don't got a Chicago, and the worst thing that happened is that their point guard is.
Yeah, I was just about to say that injury seems like it kind of set them back from what they were trying to do.
Yeah, and it's not even like he's a great scorer, but he's a great facilitator. So
right.
He gets everybody the shots. So now, so it is there where they're at the point where it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Why not build for the future while the stock is high on LaVine? Maybe the highest is going to be, and the same for DeRozan. Maybe the highest is going to be.
Yeah. DeRozan only has a few more. Well, I don't know. Players are playing later.
Yeah, that's true.
So he might have more years than I think.
Yeah,
but I don't know. But I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know his stats. He was averaging around 25 last year. I would assume.
Yeah, 25, 5 and 5, something like.
But he had his best. He had his best year statistically as a Bull. That first year he got there.
Right.
I'm just saying that it ain't too many more 25-point averages coming, and it ain't many more.
Listen, I drafted him, so he need to at least this season he fall off next season.
Right.
He was sitting there. I was like, all right.
So, with regard to the rest of the East, how do you see this playing out? Because obviously, Milwaukee with the Dame acquisition, and Boston with the Porzingis, and now the Drew Holiday acquisition. Now, those are the two teams clearly that sit above everybody else in the East. 3 through 8, like. How do you see that kind of playing out?
I'm putting in the Knicks can finish 3 through 6, but for this exercise, I'm gonna put them at 3.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put them at 3.
I like that. I like that.
I'm gonna put them at 3. I'm gonna put Philly 4. So 4 and 5 to me is Philly and Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland is gonna be better. Like they got beat up by the Knicks. They'll be better, just like we took our lumps from Miami. We'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Philly is in my opinion, in disarray right now, you still got Embiid.
Yeah.
You still got Maxey, who I think is gonna step it up this season.
Yeah.
And I think Tobias Harris, we forget now, unless he's older or and his game has fell off that.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about his role changed on the team. They didn't really need him to score as much once they got Harden. If Harden decides he's not going to play until he's traded, I do think Tobias Harris steps up and he's going to score more than, I don't know, that 14, 15 points. I think which is lowest of his career. I don't know, maybe not from when he first came in, but recently.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna put Philly above Cleveland. Cleveland is a little soft to me. They got to show me a little something.
Yeah, they added some depth though in the offseason.
And Niang and Strus.
Yep.
Strus, yep.
So they got the shooting. That's what hurt them against us as well. They didn't have the shooting.
I think so.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have them Knicks 3, Philly 4, my
Cleveland.
Cleveland 5. I'm gonna have Miami 6. Now, Miami lost Strus and
Gabe Vincent.
Yep.
But I don't think they were lights out in the regular season. They just really they were good in the regular season. They turned it up.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But Hero is coming back. They still have Bam Adebayo. They still have Jimmy Butler. They just not a very deep team. They're just not a very deep team. So I'm gonna put them. I'm gonna have them 6. Maybe I'm gonna give your brother. I don't know. I'll watch.
Come on.
We got Orlando and Banchero. We got Indiana and Halliburton.
Brooklyn. Let's not forget Brooklyn.
Oh, I gotta put Brooklyn above the. People are sleeping on Brooklyn.
I am too. I am too.
People are sleeping on Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn is gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Brooklyn 7.
And then there's Atlanta.
Oh,
Then there's Atlanta.
you know what I'm saying? I need a chart. I need a chart right
I thought
here.
about this.
Yeah, I don't know about Atlanta this year, man. They traded John Collins. I mean, not that that's like earth shattering, but
Right.
you know, I just don't know what the direction of the team. Me and Maestro, we talked about this. You know, having Dejounte Murray and Trey Young on the same backcourt. It just seems like they both want to do the same things, and they don't really complement each other. So I'm just not sure where they're headed.
You think they're better than Brooklyn, though?
Atlanta, no.
I don't know. Here's what I do know. I know that if somebody could let Dejounte Murray know that this is Trey Young's team and move aside, Trey Young is going to do what Trey Young does, and I don't know that Brooklyn can deal with that onslaught. And then obviously we're talking about a play-in situation. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
I like Brooklyn. They're just a balanced.
Yeah, I love Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, and then you got Cam Johnson out the wing. Then you got and Ben Simmons.
Simmons playing now.
He's playing. He's starting. He's starting at the point guard.
That's what they said. That's what they said.
He's not gonna shoot. He's not. I mean, but he's gonna, he's gonna do what Lonzo Ball would have done, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna set up the team. He's gonna play really good defense.
Mm-hmm.
Who plays the 4 for them? They probably have Cam at the 4.
I would say I would imagine they have Cam there, but I don't know on the top of my head.
Oh, Dinwiddie will probably play the 2.
That's right. Dinwiddie's back there.
Spencer Dinwiddie, yeah.
That's right.
That's right. At the 3, Cam
that's a solid team.
That's a solid 5. That's a solid 5.
That's a solid team.
Solid 5.
They're better than Atlanta. I mean, say what you want about
on paper,
say what you want about Trey and him being clutch and being the dude, but Trey don't got that starting 5 around him. Like Brooklyn's a better team than Atlanta.
Hey, but Trey ain't never had that starting 5 around him, so let's not make that a thing.
Sure. But they overachieved that one year. We could be clear about that. They overachieved when they got to the conference finals that one year.
So.
That year, but that play in that next year when they made the play in, and they probably shouldn't have made it based on their team.
Mm-hmm.
That was Trey Young.
One game versus a series.
But when we're talking about Brooklyn and Atlanta, we're talking about a play-in situation because we're talking about possibly 7, 8, 9. So
I wouldn't. Brooklyn might surprise. People.
I would be surprised. I'd be surprised. Maestro, he'd be surprised.
Right. So maybe the Wizards do have a chance at the play-in, maybe around that 8-9 spot.
Hey man, that would be a good year for me.
Yeah, but what about Indiana?
But Indiana, yeah.
I mean, who they got?
Halliburton.
Yeah, and we sent Obi over there.
Still there. Obi
Turner's still there.
Miles Turner.
Who else Mathurin, because Buddy Hield is coming off the bench now. So Mathurin.
Right. I like Mathurin.
They're a young team. They're
a young team. Yeah, so
they're a young team.
I'm going to put my money on Jordan Poole right this second. And yes, it's bias, and yes, it's fandom. I'm going to put my money on Jordan Poole right now.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with you. He dropped one on the Knicks.
Yeah.
It's clear that the teams that are bad in the Eastern Conference, I think Detroit, is still a year away. Yes. Charlotte's terrible, I think. Toronto, I mean, they've been trying to get rid of some of their players and stuff. I don't think Toronto's going to be any good this year. The coach is not there no more. Van Vliet is in Houston. What, preseason?
I get it.
I ain't, bro. Don't
they
please.
Smoked us. Smoked us.
Sure.
I like Toronto. But I hear you. Van Vliet is not there. They still got Siakam. Listen, when I saw them play, this team was so long. They had
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes at they had Scotty Barnes at 2, OG Anunoby at 3,
At
Boucher
3, yeah.
at 4, Siakam at 5, and Schroeder at the
Yeah,
point. I said,
yeah,
my, they may not be
yeah.
able to score, but you gonna have a hard time scoring.
Defense, yeah. They've
Yeah,
always been good defensively.
Jordan Poole was like 1 for 16 or something crazy last Friday playing Toronto. Like he couldn't make a shot against them. But the problem is that Scotty Barnes is going to have to step up scoring, and I don't believe him yet.
He's not, but that's because of the shooting.
Yeah, I don't believe him.
The shooting.
Yeah.
But this is my sleeper team, Orlando. I like Orlando.
A lot of people have been talking about them. Yeah.
A lot of people have been talking about them.
They were 500. I don't know if it was after January 1st or was it after the All-Star break, whatever. They were above 500 team.
Yeah, they were right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
I don't know. Right there. I tell you one thing. I got my little NBA package. I'm locked in. That is for sure. I am locked in. Western Conference. What you like about the Western Conference? What's your predictions?
I'm going Denver, Phoenix, Lakers.
Okay.
I have to look at the I have to look at
and the Lakers made some moves, so
I like the Lakers.
Yeah.
The Lakers they were magicians at the trade deadline last year, right?
They did a good job.
Yep.
They did a good job.
Yep.
They did a good job. I don't Memphis is around. So I got Denver. I'll give my predictions. I got Denver at 1. I got the Suns at 2. I still got Memphis at 3. I got Memphis at 3. Even with Ja missing 25, I didn't believe Dylan Brooks was that big of a piece missing.
And Marcus Smart is there, so
and Marcus Smart is also there.
Yeah.
So Memphis 3. Give me the Lakers at 4. You gotta respect Golden State. Give me Golden State at 5.
I'm with you so far.
Yeah. Give me. This is where it gets a little funky. Give me the Timberwolves.
Ooh, over the Clips.
Yep, over the Clippers.
Over the Pelicans too, because the Pelicans.
I don't believe
healthy Clips and healthy New Orleans.
Yeah,
I don't believe. I think Kawhi Leonard take a step back. I believe that be on the court, and then be on the court. Be on the court. It's too much load management conversations. It's too much injury conversations. They're gonna have to prove it to me. They're gonna have to, with consistency.
I ain't gonna front. That sounds like a team that's gonna trade away some players at the deadline. The Clippers, that is.
Clippers.
Yeah.
The Clippers. And as far as the Pelicans, you could convince me. You can convince me to move maybe the Pelicans above the Timberwolves. You could convince me of that.
Yeah, they was in the one spot.
Yeah.
For
you
chunk
can
of the
convince me.
season.
You can convince me. I'll give them this. I'll give them 6. I'll give the Pelicans 6, Minnesota 7, and get the Clippers at 8. But I must say this. I like Ime Udoka.
They're going to be improved.
And I like Portland.
They young though.
They young.
I don't know.
I like Portland with DeAndre Ayton and Rob
You didn't even put Sacramento in there. Sacramento.
Yeah. But they didn't really do anything in the offseason.
Right.
De'Aaron Fox is De'Aaron Fox. Let's be clear. The guy Herter.
Kevin Herter, yeah.
He had a good year, and that year was that year.
Yep.
I don't see him doing that again.
Right.
I don't see him doing that again.
They brought in Duarte though. Maybe he'll steps up for them.
Maybe. And more importantly, I don't think nobody saw it coming.
Right.
I think now that they have to pay attention to Sacramento because of what they did, I think they take a step back.
That's a huge step back. I mean, based on your projections, man.
So they're gonna finish behind Minnesota. So you really think Minnesota?
I like Anthony. I like Anthony Edwards. I like
Ant-Man.
Anthony Edwards.
Ant-Man.
I think he takes one of them dark horse MVP type of steps.
But they're gonna have to trade Cat at some point because they didn't been giving out contracts. They just signed Jaden McDaniels to like 5 years, $133 million, and they gave Ant-Man his money as well, and then they re-signed what's my guy, Nas Reed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like.
They're going to trade Cat at some point. If it's not by the off season, this coming off season, it might be at some point during the season.
Yeah,
By the way, while we talking extensions, shout out Greek Freak got 3 years, 186.
Yep, 62 a year. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is what I'm saying about the Knicks. We waiting for superstars like, oh, he come one might be signed.
Yeah.
We get excited, signed.
So, in your opinion, Steph, because I've said for a while now, if you're gonna trade 3-4 first rounders and maybe 3-4 players on the roster, if you're gonna have that kind of trade package, it's got to be for a guy that you know is going to take you over the top, whether it be a Greek Freak, Luka, or, in my opinion, a guy like Ant-Man if somehow, things don't work out in Minnesota. Those are the 3 guys that I would trade, those assets for those guys. I wouldn't trade those assets for any other player.
Not even Donovan?
Donovan Mitchell? At this point, no.
Okay.
At this point, no.
I guess because of Brunson?
Well, I think Brunson and Donovan can work in some capacity. It'll be a smaller backcourt. The defense will be compromised a bit, but I think they can find a way to work it out. And more importantly, he might. Well, I don't want to say might. I think he'll want out of Cleveland at some point. Like, I think he'll let the Cavs know, hey, I do not plan on re-signing here, so if y'all want to get something for me, now's the time to do it, or y'all gonna lose me for nothing. I mean, and that would be so in the Knicks' favor if Cleveland lost him for nothing. Like, we wouldn't have to give up nothing.
In knowing that, you're saying you don't want Donovan Mitchell?
No, I'm not saying I don't want Donovan Mitchell. I'm saying 4 first and 3-4 players. I don't know about that for Donovan Mitchell.
But I mean, with all due respect to Ant-Man, this would be about what we think he's going to do. It would you're willing to give that up for Ant-Man. He hasn't done that yet.
Right.
This is just projection.
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Mitchell
has done that.
Yeah,
sure.
And he's the best finisher at his position. He finishes. He dunking on it, like he's shooting. He's doing what he want to do, and it's interesting because I was waiting for somebody to say it.
Yeah.
The only person that you got on your team that creates their own shot is Jalen Brunson. Donovan Mitchell don't have that problem.
Right. Sure. No, I get that.
But this is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Those players we mentioned, it's going to be hard for them to take us over the top that first season because you're giving up so much.
Right.
Yep.
So basically what you have to ask yourself is, can we build around this guy that we're bringing in? Because you're not going to be competitive. I'm not sure how competitive you're going to be. Mm-hmm. Like, you bring in Embiid, you Randall, Barrett, Mitchell Robinson. I'm not sure we're going to be over the top for maybe 2 years because you have to build that back up.
Right.
I agree.
No, I get you. So yeah, as far as the West goes, and it's tough, man, because these young teams that kind of improve themselves, like the Rockets, I think are going to be improved with the coaching change and everything, where that's concerned. I mean, we didn't even mention Dallas. Like, we didn't even mention
I'm ready to do mine over. Yeah,
Luka and Kyrie Irving. We didn't even mention them. You know what I mean?
I got the list up now. Yeah, we didn't do Dallas.
Wow.
We didn't talk about OKC. Now, OKC probably they're at least a playing team. At least a
with Chet.
Maybe. Yeah.
But SGA is that dude, though.
Oh, for sure. SGA is definitely that dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I
think we might do better just saying who won't make it.
Right.
Which 5 teams won't
Right.
make it.
Do I have Minnesota or the Clippers?
Well, we know Portland, like the Portlands,
Well,
the
I
Utes,
just like Portland and Houston. I don't have them making the playoffs. I just
got
wanted
you,
to shout them out
got
because
you,
I like them two
got
teams.
you, got you. But as far as like not making the playoffs, like I think we can expect Portland, Utah, the Spurs. I'm thinking maybe the Spurs aren't ready for that
No,
yet.
they're not ready. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't even have a point guard.
Right. So I think those are the three that you could say are locks to not make it.
Right. One good team is not going to make it because there's 15. Only 10 is making it. We'll make it. Utah won't. I don't believe. San Antonio won't. Portland won't. Houston won't. That's 4.
Okay.
Right.
So you got 11 teams vying for 10 spots.
And really 8.
Really 8, but at least a play.
Right.
Ooh,
that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's gonna be tough, man.
That's tough.
West is gonna be a dogfight there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it is most years.
Yeah. Hey, since we were mentioning the Suns earlier. So how you feeling, Maestro, about this new lineup? Your boy KD out in Phoenix with Brad Beal, your other boy, with Devin Booker. Still no point guard, but they got a nice scoring trio right there. They gotta do it this year, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. There's championship or bust. For the Suns.
Yep.
We're going to see what Booker look like at point. I mean, that's who they're designating to be the point. Say what you want to say. I know the bench conversation was a lot of conversation, but it seems like they're kind of righting that. They've kind of righted that ship in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
Bo on the bench. That is a.
Oh, he's there.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
That is a issue. I need you to hear me good. That is a issue.
Hey, Steph, wasn't Knicks fans talking about wanting to get Bobo?
Yeah, that's my other pet peeve with the Knicks. We just let a lot of players going through.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Bo coming off the bench is going that is going to be an issue. That is going to be an issue, and it's a couple other guys I'm forgetting that they brought to that bench.
Yeah,
but they got some bench
pieces. They made some moves. Yeah,
they do. I'm looking at their record now. What was impressive about them is usually when you get those 3 max type players, the minimum guys are really not good. They got a lot of good minimum guys.
Yeah.
So Josh Okogie is
good. Yeah.
Grayson Allen is there. Damon Lee will probably give them some minutes.
Yeah.
Like Watanabe from Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn, yep.
Yeah, he'll give them some minutes. Eric Gordon can give them some minutes.
Eric Gordon
and shooting. More importantly, yep.
Yeah, Nasir Little can give them some minutes. So I mean, you're not really looking for those guys to.
Yeah, they got a bunch. They got a bunch of shooting on that squad right now.
That team, I'm telling you, they put themselves in position. That I'll give them. They put themselves in position to compete with Denver.
And as far as the defense is concerned, I think they'll be okay. What's the coach name? Vogel. I think Vogel will find a way to scheme their defense up as the season goes along.
And who's that? That's Nurkic at center now?
Yes.
Nurkic, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, look, injuries, I get that. And look, he won't stop. Ain't nobody stopping Joker. Ain't nobody stopping him.
No.
Right.
No. But just staying away for a little bit. Just staying away for a little bit. Right. Give me, Suns. I said it last year that they was gonna win and it didn't go my way. I'm on the train again. I ain't forget.
He's a big KD fan. When he went to Brooklyn, he was like, "Oh, that's the finals representative in the East. Wherever KD goes, that's who he picks."
He's getting a little long in the tooth now. He 30.
Yeah.
35.
35?
35, yeah. 35, yeah.
Was that their number? This might be their number. No, these are their numbers. He got 35. I'm looking at that number. But he is 35, actually.
Yeah.
And he is number 35, so yeah.
And let's be clear, Trey. Mm-hmm. Don't never forget his foot was on the line against Milwaukee.
His foot was on the line.
His foot was on the line.
He put it there. He put his foot on the line. So I was gonna say because his feet ain't grow. His feet was always that long. So But Steph, I got one more thing for you, and this is one of our favorite segments here. We do the top 5 list, and whenever we do these lists and we get feedback from some of our fans and some other, unanimous people, we get text messages and, even sometimes I get phone calls from people talking about, yo, what's this person talking about in their top 5? This person don't know what they're talking about. They don't know nothing about sports and all this good stuff. And, I get it's all in good fun, but what I want you to do here, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. The first question is I want you to let everybody know where they can find you at on social media, your handles, your platforms, podcasts, and all that good stuff.
Sure. On Twitter, I'm BKSteph33. On YouTube, my YouTube channel is Dope Soul Sports Talk. I think it's now Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk. And then also on all your streaming platforms, my audio podcast is Just Nicking It, the Just Nicking It audio podcast. I've been on a break for the past 2 weeks, but I'm starting back up this week.
So send all your hate mail to her.
And then also, I still do the Queen's Court Monday nights on the Nothin But Knicks.
Yes. Yep. So with that being said, your top 5 MVP candidates for this upcoming NBA season.
Ooh. I think the Joker, Embiid, and Giannis is gonna.
They're gonna.
Still, Giannis is going to have a monster season. Those 3 for sure. I think if KD stays healthy, I think he can be in that conversation as well.
Straighten your face up.
With Book and Beal there.
Well, let's be clear.
I still think he's still the best player, though.
Yeah, come on, Trey. You gotta stop this.
Stop what?
Kevin Durant is still the best player on that team.
I think so.
I mean, he didn't show it in the playoffs. Book was doing all the work.
You gotta respect the hot hand when it's the hot hand.
Come on. No, don't give me the hot hand stuff, man.
You're saying Devin Booker is better than Kevin Durant. Just say that. Yes or no?
That he's better. I'm not saying he's better. I'm saying that he was the best on the Suns last year in the playoffs. That's what he showed. That is his team. That it's his team.
Yeah,
I get it.
They're gonna do the vote before then.
Yeah, we talking about regular season MVP, sir.
Right, and you don't think Book is going to average 29 points a game this year?
I don't know.
I don't see in any world where KD wins MVP and you got a dude in Booker that's averaging 29 on the same team. I don't see that happening.
That they may cancel each other out. But what you said the top 5. That's my top 5.
It's your list. It's your list.
I'm not gonna pick both of them.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, BK. I'm trying to get him to say something really definitive because he about to get on my nerves. In the MVP race, you saying you got Devin Booker over KD?
No, that's not what I said. I said in my head, I don't see him as a candidate because of the players around him. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying Booker is better than him. I'm saying that I don't think he can win league MVP on that team with those 2 other players. Do you think Kevin Durant
can average 35 a game?
At this stage, 35, no.
Okay. And I'm not saying he was. I was just trying to throw a scenario at you.
Sure, no.
But I think what they do with the MVP, they might get split votes. So he may not. Because some may say, I think Booker should get it, or I think and they're gonna split their votes, so neither one of them will probably get it.
Sure,
but it's hard if KD stays healthy. It's hard for me to think he wouldn't be in that. Maybe Booker's in that conversation as well.
And then here's another piece you gotta think about, Trey.
Yep,
Booker's playing point guard. So it's a probability that his point total goes down because he has to facilitate. And if he facilitates anywhere,
maybe okay.
If he facilitates anywhere good, like let's say 10 assists, them shits is going to KD and he knocking them down.
So that means but that would also mean Booker's averaging a double for the season.
No. But if his point total goes down to 22 and 10,
sure,
we're not putting Devin Booker in an MVP conversation.
No, that's not what I'm. That's not where I was going with that.
Okay.
Where I was going with that is that I still think you still have a situation where there's clearly like another guy next to KD that how can I word this?
You're saying he can't win MVP because he got a Robin?
I guess that's where I'm trying to go with that.
Well, I don't think that's a good argument
I guess that's why.
Because plenty of MVPs have had Robins.
That kind of a Robin that can average 25, even 25. Like even if he averages 25.
LeBron and Kyrie. I mean, they've been tandems like that. Tatum and Brown.
Braun won the MVP with Kyrie on his roster.
I'm not sure.
But the point is that Chris Middleton has been a good Robin for years.
He averaged 19 the year Greek Freak won the MVP.
Sir, because you're trying to play a semantic game and that's cool. But
I ain't no semantics. I'm spitting facts here.
What you're trying to imply is so. Are you in turn saying because he only scored 19, he wasn't the Robin?
That's not what I said.
Okay, what you're saying? No. But I could break it down for you. So in turn, what you're saying is that if the difference between the Robin is 3 points, because if you're saying 20, if Devin Booker could score 22. That KD can't be in running, but if Greek Freak can win it with him only scoring 19, that 3 points is the only difference between Robin being a good enough Robin for.
I mean, if that's what it is, that's what it is. I'm not going by point. I'm not necessarily.
You gave me an example. I'm just going by the example you said.
Right, but I'm not differentiating the points per game between the two Robins. I'm just saying that. I've never seen a player win an MVP with a teammate that's averaging about 23, 24 points a game. That's the point I'm trying.
How much was Kobe averaging when Shaq won? How much was Kobe average?
And how much did Jamal Murray average last season too? When
was it 20? Was it 20 points?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I'm saying, you're saying that you've never seen it happen. I'm saying that it can definitively happen. If you're the best player on your team and your team is doing what they're doing, Shaq and Kobe existed. Scotty and Mike existed.
Yeah, I mean, KD with the Warriors existed too.
So
ain't nobody won MVP on that roster.
Okay, all right, Trey. I'm not gonna
right.
I ain't gonna stretch the show because we just kind of cut her top 5 segment off.
Yeah, we really did, but
that's okay. I got it's a lot of bigs in mind because everybody's healthy, right? We're talking about everybody.
Everybody's healthy.
Everybody healthy. Yep.
So I got the Joker, I got Embiid, I got Giannis, I got AD from
interesting
from the Lakers, and my fifth one would be between KD and Tatum. I'm going KD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Tatum. I like Tatum as a top 5 candidate for MVP.
But your example is more likely to happen with Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, because of Jaylen Brown?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
really close in scoring too.
And they've consistently been close.
Okay.
I think the voters, in my opinion, who's the best team and who's the best player on that team. I don't even think they care about who the second best.
Right.
That's
who's playing the best on that team.
That's what I think too. And I think that'll be KD this
unless
year.
Unless you do something like really out of this world with like the stats and stuff, like kind of like when Russ won the MVP because of the triple double. Like unless you do something crazy like that, because that team he was on, it was like a 6 seed and he won the MVP that year. So
yeah,
right. AD, listen, if the Lakers are like top 2, top
It's
3,
because
and AD is healthy, he will be in the MVP conversation. The only thing
for
holding
sure.
him back is his health.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could also see LeBron's numbers decreasing from last year as well, especially with the age and stuff like that. So I
do
could.
you really know?
What's that?
You really see the LeBron's like decrease him by like what? Because he was averaging 25 last year.
I could see it decreasing.
Like to 20.
To like 21, 22. I could see it decreasing. Maybe just not wanting to put much load on himself, making it more of Anthony Davis's team. I could see a scenario like that taking place.
I hope Anthony Davis ready. I say that much. I know he got the skill set. That I know.
The health. It's the health.
I mean, it's
with
the
that
health,
guy.
but it's also the motor. Sometimes he don't be wanting to go into them. Yeah. Sometimes he don't be wanting to go into them trenches. I saw somewhere that they was trying to get him to start shooting 3-pointers.
The coach Vogel did a segment on NBA TV. Yeah, not NBA TV. I'm sorry, Sirius XM Radio, basketball channel, and absolutely, he wants him to shoot. What did he say? 5 a game, something like that.
5 a game, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that. But I guess if we start hitting him.
I thought he played some of his best basketball, even though they got swept against the Nuggets. But I thought a couple of games in that series, he played some of his best games going up against the Joker. If that's consistent,
some of his worst games too.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too. But it's a new year, new start. Maybe this guy finally, puts it together consistently and gets his health right. So, but BK Steph, this was fun. Again, I want to thank you for coming on, and it was a pleasure meeting you at the game earlier this year as well. Hope to do the same thing. The Knicks make the playoffs, and we get to a game at the Garden later this season. Hope to look forward to meeting you again. Again, one more time, let everybody know where they can find you at, social media wise, platform wise.
Sure, Twitter or X now. BK.
Don't call it X. Don't call it X.
BK Steph 33. Also Facebook, Dope Soul Sports Talk. YouTube, Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk. And on all your streaming platforms, the Just Nicking It audio podcast. And I was gonna say something. Oh, we usually go to Washington now. We was in Washington twice last season to watch the game.
I was at one of those games. Me and my wife was sitting courtside. I think it was the first Wizards Knicks matchup in January.
Yeah, January. Okay.
In January, yeah. I remember Sim saying something about that. You guys had a section blocked off. I forget what section it was.
Yeah. And we did the pregame and postgame at Guy Fieri's restaurant. It was really nice. I had a nice time. But I would also love to have you on to do a crossover, like maybe before we play Washington.
We ready?
Absolutely.
We ready. Hopefully we compete in some capacity.
Well, hopefully it's early in the season.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm trying to get tickets to the November 17th game. That's a Friday night game. It's a 7:30 game. I'm trying to get tickets to that one because
it's at the Garden or in Washington.
In Washington. In DC. Because I live out here in the Baltimore area, but I go to Wizards games whenever the Knicks come to town. So, and my son's birthday is a couple of days before that. So I'm trying to see if I can get some tickets to that game. And I know Sim will most likely want to, do something for that as well.
If so, I'll definitely be there. But would I reach out on the email that I have and in terms of like wanting to have?
Yes, absolutely.
Like, for a guest spot to talk the Wizards, Knicks Wizards before game?
Right. Yeah, that's it.
No doubt.
I hope you're ready for some objectivity.
I already see you got them 6 through 8.
Yeah, talking
you
wild.
You don't need nothing from me.
Talking wild. But BK Steph, thank you so much. This was fun again.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate you guys inviting me on anytime.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, take care. and we'll see you around.
Yes, we will.
All right, peace. Peace. BK Steph. You can find her on Twitter at BK Steph 33.
She was such a fun, comfortable talk, man. I didn't realize we was going over time.
Yeah. But we made it work. I know she had some issues. We got that worked out. Or she got it worked out anyway, and all that's well. I just got one thing before we get the picks, and we can't let the Bills off the hook. The Bills got to get their smoke for losing to the Patriots. Losing to the Patriots, they got to get their smoke, bruh.
Well, I don't. Well, maybe you seen more of the sequence of the game. I was not locked into that game at all. Mm-hmm. But I mean, obviously, I saw the last second. And clearly they had to drive that way. So, I mean, go ahead, bust it down.
Yeah, I will say this because again, I was more focused on my game, but checking scores, I did see Buffalo down 13-3 at one point. Then in the second half, I saw the Bills come back, and then the Patriots kind of took another lead, and then there's a couple turnovers in there. And then next thing you know, it's after the 2-minute warning. Bills at the goal line, they get the touchdown, they go up by 4 or 5 points. And then they allow Mac Jones, of all people, to have a game-winning drive on them.
Man, stop playing with Mac Jones, man. Look,
I don't give a damn about no Mac Jones.
He ain't been good, and that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this dude with third year, fourth year, this dude he say he pedigree, man. That's what he say. That's what he say.
I don't give a damn about that.
Buffalo ain't care about it neither, and they got what came to him.
But let's be clear, too, about Buffalo. This is now 3 straight weeks of play from the Bills where you starting to say, yo, is this team that team now? And look, let's acknowledge, too, there's no Milano. He got hurt last week, so that's a big deal. Trey White is gone for the season, so we see where they're getting exploited at. But 3 straight weeks, game in London against the Giants at home last week, and now losing to the Patriots. Granted, it was on the road, but you still lost to that team. That's not a very good team right now. So, Your thoughts, man? Just how they look through 7 weeks at this point. 4-3, second in the division.
I mean, but. It's not like we're concerned about. Well, I made my bet, but we wasn't concerned about what this team was going to do in the regular season. We were concerned about this team being winning a Super Bowl.
Yep.
We know that they have the team capable with comparable to the field that they are a playoff team, or they should be a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't concerned if that's the respect that we have on this team. Then I'm not concerned about it. Right this second, I'm concerned about what they're doing in December and January. Mm-hmm. So, bad loss. Bad play against the Giants. Bad loss to the.
I don't know. You think that's a bad loss against the Jags? And not to say the Jags are world beaters, but
it's a bad loss because of who Buffalo believes they are. Yes.
Because of solely that. For you,
yes. For me, yes, because of who they believe they are. Jacksonville is not Buffalo on paper, on pedigree, on status. No, they don't have.
I understand that point. I guess what I'm trying to get to is that Jacksonville made the playoffs last year. Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
They made the playoffs last year with a Super Bowl winning coach, with a quarterback that we think is going to take the next step, and they made moves in the offseason to better themselves. They snuck up on people last year, and now I feel like there's some tape on Jacksonville now. Like Jacksonville, I would put in the category of teams that are no longer going to sneak up on somebody. Jacksonville is now in a position where we know they are a playoff caliber team. And if you are that team, and we know Buffalo is, and beyond that, then that's a team that, to me, you say, okay, we lost to that team, and we lost to them happening to fly however many miles to get there. It's now, you want to say it's a bad loss? I'll say this. I'll say this. It's a bad loss because it's in the conference and it's against a team that's most likely going to win their division. And if you're going to win the division, if you're going to win the AFC East, and you lost to that team, now you might be looking at a 3 seed. You might be looking at a 4 seed because of that particular loss. So I'll give you that. I'll give you that it's a bad loss for me because of that. Because that's a team that's expected to.
Don't give it to me. I don't want that excuse.
No, I'm just saying, for me.
Okay.
That Jacksonville is a team that we all think is going to win the South. And if you're Buffalo and your expectation is AFC East champs, then that's a team that, record-wise, hey, if we tie them, then we got to be above that team in the standings. And with that loss, if they win the East and Jacksonville wins the South, then that's a team that could potentially be the 3rd seed, the 4th seed. And that could be a major difference in them getting to the Super Bowl or not.
Yeah, I hear you. But again, the Buffalo Bills are a Super Bowl team.
And maybe they're not what we think they are. Maybe at this point, maybe.
That's a whole different discussion, though. But that's a whole different discussion. The Buffalo Bills are, it's Kansas City. It's Buffalo, but AFC. As far as
go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's Kansas City, and then it's Buffalo, and then you can add Miami and Baltimore and go down the line. But you can't even really put Jacksonville in the Baltimore-Miami conversation yet. So we're still talking about them possibly being a 3rd-tier team, because they haven't done anything yet. So yeah. Losing to a team that hasn't necessarily done anything yet.
I might exclude Miami out of that, but I hear you with everybody else. Because Miami, if you want to talk about teams that haven't really done it, Miami hasn't done it. We just like Miami because of how they look on offense.
How they look on paper, yes. Okay, sure. But Jacksonville don't look like that on paper, so that's why I'm putting Jacksonville under Miami. Mm-hmm. But to the point, mm-hmm. Buffalo supposed to beat the mid teams because they're the superior team. That's a bad loss. That's a bad loss. I mean, that it's like, I think Jacksonville is more comparable to Detroit in the NFC, where it's like, all right, they got a good team, and we believe they're going to do things. We believe they're going to win their division in some respects, but we don't believe this team yet to be, a team that's possibly going to go to the AFC Championship or the NFC Championship in Detroit's case. We're talking about Jacksonville as just a good team that's on the come up. Mm-hmm. So Buffalo, who are supposed to be the big boys of the AFC, don't got no business losing to teams on the come up. We supposed to spank them like Ravens did to Detroit last week and let them know, oh, I'm still Big Daddy over here. I get what y'all doing, and that's cute and that's cool. But y'all got some years before y'all can even talk to us. That's a bad loss. That's a bad loss.
So now with the discussion, you were saying that's a different discussion as far as are they who we think they are? I think Buffalo. I think the discussion is warranted right now. Not to say that we're going to spend another 5 minutes talking about this. I'm just saying, just to make a point, I think the discussion is a valid discussion now. We've seen this team 3 straight weeks against the Giants are the worst. The Giants and the Patriots, I think you could put them in the same class as being, one of the worst teams in the league right now. That's 2 bad games of play by Buffalo where you need to spank the Giants. You know what I'm saying? You can't just win 14-9. You got to beat the Giants' ass, and you didn't do that.
I agree with you that the conversation should be had, but I think in reality, when we all sit, if there was a consensus and we all sat down and had the conversation, Buffalo would still be in the top tier with Kansas City.
All right.
On pedigree alone.
All
I
right.
get it. And right, you every right to talk about how they played the past 3 weeks. But we had the same conversation about Buffalo last year when they lost to was it Minnesota? And then they lost to the Jet, and then they lost to the Jet. They lost to the Jets. I want to say.
Yeah, the Minnesota loss was like mid-season-ish,
and then they had like a 3 or 4 loss streak, and we was having this same conversation.
The Jet loss was beginning to okay.
So we know this about Buffalo, that they have spurts in the season where they don't play good. We know that Josh Allen may have a spurt where he's turning the ball over a lot in the regular season because he's done this before.
Right, because they lost 3 games. I think they lost 3 games total last year. Buffalo, that is.
Yeah, but they might have lost those 3 games in a row. I don't know that for a fact, but I know they.
Yeah,
lost
I don't recall. But
I don't know that for a fact, but I know they lost to Minnesota and the Jets in 2 weeks.
The Jets and the Miami losses, I think, were closer than that Minnesota one. That Minnesota one was maybe mid-season-ish, and then they got on that run after the fact. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, they have spurts like really any NFL team has, unless you're just not a good team where you're just losing all the time.
Yeah.
You have ebbs and flows in the season. But I think when you look at the Buffalo Bills, what they've achieved in the past years, their roster now, and with their expectations haven't changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they got some key pieces that are like hurt right now,
and their expectations still don't change.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out about them.
Only thing that changes their expectations is Josh Allen going down. That's it.
All right. Well, we're gonna find out about this team because they got some tough games coming up.
And by the way,
they're gonna lose more games this season.
I don't care about that. By the way, my prediction.
Well, you do if you're betting.
Yeah. My prediction is my prediction. So it's not like I don't understand your conversation, but their expectations and their standard is still their standard right now. It's just a matter if they're going to achieve it or not.
Right. Which I think at this point, I don't think they're going to. At this point, I mean, will they be a wild card? Like, yeah, I could see them at this stage of the game being no less than a wild card team. They certainly aren't a lock for the AFC East at the moment, and quite frankly, I don't even think any of the 3 teams are certain locks right now with the current play.
Which means they're still in it.
Right, they're still in it, as the Jets are still in it, as the Dolphins are still in it. But I think the Bills they're gonna lose more games this season because they're compromised on the defensive side, and on the offensive side, I haven't seen them to be consistent enough. And so even with those expectations still being the same, it is what it is. They got the Eagles coming up on the schedule. They got Dallas coming up on the schedule. They got to play these division games. They got to play Miami again. They got to see the Jets again.
By the way, they smoked Miami.
Sure, in Buffalo. When they get this, when sure, it'll probably play out like it did last year. Bills went to Miami, didn't play well. They hosted the Dolphins. They beat the Dolphins. I could see the same thing happening this year. So they're going to lose more games. I don't think they're going on any kind of run.
Okay, I don't know what you mean by they're going to lose more games. You mean they're going to lose more games in 3 games? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like
they've
matched their loss total from last season, and with the schedule they have coming up, with some tough games coming up, and look, Cincinnati, they haven't played the Bengals yet. They haven't played the Chiefs yet. What are we talking about here?
Okay, so are you saying? Because what are we talking about here? That woke me up a little bit. I don't know what we're saying right now. So are you? What is your overall consensus on the Buffalo Bills right now? You're saying they're not that team. They're not a Super Bowl contender no more. And that the Jacksonville Jaguars are a better team.
No. That not that they're not a Super Bowl contender anymore, but that this team is not as dominant as they were last season, even the couple of seasons before when they made the conference title game. This team has some flaws. This team's got some injuries, and this team has got a tough schedule coming up where they still haven't played the big boys in the AFC. And I'm talking about Kansas City. I'm talking about Cincinnati. When I say big boys, I'm talking about the division winners because, I mean more so the division winners because that's who you play the following season, and they haven't played those teams yet. And then you're talking about a game with the Eagles, you're talking about a game with the Cowboys, and you're talking about games against the rest of the division. So
we agree that they're not as good as they were last year, but that doesn't change the fact that they're still the big boys of the AFC along with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Do you think who's on this? Who the Buccaneers? That's a bad example. So give me the Cincinnati. So Cincinnati, I'll give you an example. So Cincinnati, you think Cincinnati's looking at them like, oh, these the big boys? Like Cincinnati's looking at these dudes like, oh, we could bust this team's ass with what they got going on right now.
But that don't change the fact that Buffalo is the big boys. That just means that Cincinnati thinks they can beat them.
Well,
right?
Well.
Buffalo is still Buffalo, regardless of what opposition thinks they could beat them. Buffalo still is. Buffalo has established their reputation over these past 3 years.
I just think that can change in the middle of a season. I guess is my point. It can change
at any point of a season, but to sit there and say that Jacksonville is in a bad loss because Jacksonville is a good team. Jacksonville ain't in the conversation with Cincinnati. They're not in the conversation with Kansas City. They're not in the conversation with the NFC teams that you just spoke about. Jacksonville ain't on the level with those types of teams. So Buffalo don't look at them that way. So yeah, it's a bad for them to lose to Jacksonville. That's a bad loss.
Sure. And I guess my point is now we've seen 3 weeks of this team not playing great football, and I think maybe
we talk in circles, my G.
And I think maybe we just I think when you're saying they the big boy, maybe they're not the big boy right now. Maybe we need to take that label off of them mid-season. Is that a fair assessment? Is that do we need to keep the label on them?
Right now, they have not unearned that label. They haven't done that yet.
They haven't unearned that label.
No.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's get to these picks. So we got Buffalo winning on Thursday, right, against the Buccaneers.
Yep.
Rams at the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll go Cowboys. Vikings at the Packers. I'm going Minnesota.
I'm going Minnesota, yeah.
Falcons at the Titans.
Titans.
Yeah, I got Titans too. Saints at the Colts.
Colts.
I'll go Saints. Patriots at the Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah.
Battle for New York. Jets at the Giants.
Jets.
I'll take the Jets. Jags at the Steelers.
Give me the Steelers.
Give me the Jags to bust that ass on Sunday. Eagles at the Commanders.
Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles. Texans at the Panthers. Give me the Texans.
Yep, Texans.
Browns at the Seahawks.
Browns at the Seahawks?
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Seahawks and give me the Seahawks. Jerome Ford is on IR.
Really?
Yeah, he's on IR. Deshaun Watson, they said he might come back, but probably not.
Yeah, what's his deal, man?
I don't know. I don't know.
Doctors saying he's cleared to play. Dude's like, I'm gonna sit this one out. Like,
I know it's $235 in his bank account.
You know what? Give me no, because I want the Seahawks to win. Obviously, I'll take Seattle. I was gonna go upset here if that is an upset.
It would be, but that ain't happening. Not this week. But I guess they got a top defense in the league, so maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it is possible. Chiefs at the Broncos. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Ravens at the Cardinals. I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah.
Bengals at the 49ers.
49ers.
They gonna be without Debo still?
I don't think Debo's as big as a piece as you think he is. Yeah, but no, he's not playing. Yeah, give me the 49ers though.
I'm gonna my heart says 49ers because I need the Bengals to lose, obviously, but I have a feeling the Bengals are gonna win. Bears at the Chargers. I don't know why this is a night game. Yeah, give me the Chargers. And then Monday night, Raiders at the Lions. The Lions will bounce back and get the dub.
100%.
No doubt. Big shout out to BK Steph for coming through. Big shout out to folks in the YouTube live chat, Facebook live chat, X Squad Radio. I see you in the chats. Appreciate you. Folks out there watching us on Twitch, watching us on Twitter, appreciate y'all. Continue to follow us on the platforms. We got the YouTube channel, Facebook page, Twitter handle is at Barbershop SPOR2. Also, we got the Instagram account. You can follow us at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also, if you got questions, comments about the show, hit us up on the email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. Make sure y'all check out that merch store. We got the link to the store in the description of this episode. Whatever platform you're watching on, make sure y'all check that out. We got some good stuff. Mugs, hats, hoodies, all that good stuff. Check that out. And write us a review. Let us know what you think about the show. If you're listening to the audio side on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts. Let us know what you think about the show. It goes a long way. As always, bro, always good to do this podcast. Looking forward to next week's episode. Love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. And as always, folks, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left something.
Recording
We don't
stopped.
duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called